on the top, and there start. The button is there.
Avtar Meher Baba Ki Jai. Yeah. Now I've been able to start the recording. So go ahead and so let's actually do the, the prayer. So
Yeah, yeah.
um, we can start with Ashok ji doing the universal prayer, Mama ji doing repentance, and then I will do the beloved God. Please start.
Av- Avatar
Avtar
Meher
Meher
Bab
Baba Ki Jai.
Jai. Universal prayer. O Parvardigar, the preserver and protector of all, you are without beginning and without end, non-dual, beyond comparison, and none can measure you. You are without color, without expression, without form, and without attributes. You are unlimited and unfathomable, beyond imagination and conception, eternal and imperishable. You are indivisible, and none can see you, but with eyes divine, you always were, you always are, and you always will be. You are everywhere, you are in everything, and also beyond everywhere and beyond everything. You are in the firmament and in the depths. You are manifest and unmanifest on all planes and beyond all planes. You are in the three worlds and also beyond the three worlds. You are imperceptible and independent. You are the Creator, the Lord of Lords, the knower of all minds and hearts. You are omnipotent and omnipresent. You are knowledge infinite, power infinite, and bliss infinite. You are the ocean of knowledge, all knowing, infinitely knowing, the knower of the past, the present, and the future. And you are knowledge itself. You are all merciful and eternally benevolent. You are the soul of souls, the one with infinite attributes. You are the trinity of truth, knowledge, and bliss. You are the source of truth, the ocean of love. You are the ancient one, the highest of the high. You are Prabhu and Parameshwar. You are the beyond God and the beyond God also. You are Parabrahma, Allah, Ilahi, Yazdan, Ahurmaz, and God the Beloved. You are named Izzat, the only one worthy of worship.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry,
We re-
sorry. Okay. The prayer of repentance. We repent, O God, most merciful, for all our sins, for every thought that was false or unjust or unclean, for every word spoken that ought not to have been spoken, for every deed done that ought not to have been done. We repent for every deed and word and thought inspired by selfishness, and for every deed and word and thought inspired by hatred. We repent especially for every lustful thought and every lustful action, for every lie, for all hypocrisy, for every promise given but not fulfilled, and for all slander and backbiting. Most especially, also, we repent for every action that brought ruins to others, for every word and deed that has given others pain, and for every wish that pain should befall others. In your unbounded mercy, we ask you to forgive us, O God, for all these sins committed by us, and to forgive us for our constant failure to think and speak and act according to your will.
Beloved God, help us all to love you more and more and more and more and still yet more till we become worthy of union with you, and help us all to hold fast to Baba's Daman till the very end. Avatar Meher Baba ki jai. Avatar Meher Baba ki jai. Avatar Meher Baba ki jai. Thank you. And welcome back. It's been a break, but then we are back together on the call with this with our reading. And Baba has just finished his Andhra tour, and he's headed back to Ahmednagar. So we will pick up action from uh, that point, right? So we are on the page number 5 of volume 6, which is the last volume in this book. Yeah. So, any one of you wants to start reading first, then you can read. Otherwise, I'll read for some time and then we can rotate.
I will read.
Sure. So, about this time.
About this time, the mailman delivered a telegram bringing sad news to Baba. It had been sent by the daughter of Harsivan Lal, a leading attorney in Delhi, and more importantly, one of Baba's close lovers. His daughter was to be married that very day in Delhi, but now the telegram read, Mother died today, March 6. Marriage also today, whether marriage should take place. Harjivan's wife had died in the early hours of the morning, while that same evening his dear daughter's wedding was to be celebrated on a lavish scale. What a situation! No wonder the family looked to Baba for guidance. After the cable was read out, Baba, the all knowing one, immediately dictated from his board a reply to the sorrowful, confused bride. His reply surprised some of those who were with Baba. It read, Marriage should take place. My blessing, Baba. This was immediately sent as an express telegram which reached Delhi in an hour or so. What an unexpected response to an unexpected critical situation in life. In total surrenderance to Baba's will, the family went ahead with the wedding function that very day. One can imagine how people in the general community criticized this family for not postponing the wedding. Some even ridiculed Arjivan. Only love can bear such things cheerfully. How can one expect others to understand the relationship between a lover and the divine beloved? Yet the willingness to pass cheerfully through ordeals such as these is one of the demands the beloved makes on those whom he specially loves, on those whom he especially loves. Real love is no child's play. As Meher Baba stated in one of his messages, love burns the lover, devotion burns the beloved. Love seeks happiness for the beloved, devotion seeks blessings from the beloved. Love burns the lover, devotion burns the beloved. Love seeks happiness for the beloved, devotion seeks blessings from the beloved. Archimon's love for Baba flowed through his total commitment to the beloved's pleasure. To win that pleasure, personal tragedy combined with public humiliation was not too great a price for him to pay. Later on, Arjivan wrote a very rending letter to Baba. In it, he expressed his concern that perhaps he had failed in his duty to provide the best medical treatment for his very dear wife, a soul that had lovingly surrendered to Baba. He was often tormented by remorse at the thought that she had died a premature death because of his negligence. In the same letter, he begged Baba's pardon and asked him for the strength of heart to arrange programs at various places to spread beloved Baba's message of love. He wanted to share with the people that the avatar, as Meher Baba, was once more amongst them. Baba was deeply touched by Harjiman's love and obedience to him, and in answer dictated several points to Kishan Singh to be conveyed in a letter. In his consoling reply, Baba, the knower of all our lifetimes, with his divine authority, assured Harjivan that there was no such thing as premature death. No amount of medical assistance or neglect could alter the divinely ordained moment of one's coming to Baba. Harjivan's wife was destined to come to Baba on that day, so there was no need for Harjivan to worry. Rather, he should feel happy at her return to him, the eternal life. Baba's explanation comforted Harjivan's heart and wiped out the thoughts of weighing on his weighing on his mind. This episode illustrates the intimate personal attention Baba gives to those who have surrendered themselves to him. Since the story of the beloved cannot be separated from the story of the love of his lover, a few words about Harjivan's earlier contact and relationship with Baba seems in order here. Harjivan first met Baba in the 1940s and had the good fortune at that time to be able to feel Meher Baba's divinity and to accept him as the God realized master. His heart ignited by Baba's love, Arjuan did not miss an opportunity over the years to be in the Master's presence whenever this was permitted. His meetings with Baba kept the flame of love burning bright within him. For this reason, he, like many others in Baba's family, was greatly shocked to learn from the circular sent out from Adi's office in October 1949 that Baba ends his whole life of cherished hopes and multifarious activities and begins his new life of complete renunciation and absolute helplessness from October 16, 1949. No one should try to see Baba, no one should try to communicate with Baba for any reason whatsoever. Footnote 5. New Life
New
Circular
life.
number New Life Circular number 2, January 23, 1950.
So if we just take a pause, I think this episode, if you remember, for those of us who were there, we read through and also did a little thought exercise to predict what Baba would say in the telegram. I went back to the beginning because we didn't complete the full reading. So this is a very, I mean, I think most of us, I remember in that call, assumed that Baba would insist on the wedding going ahead. And I think we are slowly understanding how Baba behaves, but it's very, very difficult to predict what Baba wants at a particular time. But what we cannot forget, or what one should not forget, is what the only thing he wants is the obedience, right? And in the absence of his direct availability, it is for us to sharpen our ability to contact him, and with that sharpened ability, reach out and help. I mean, be helped and guided in our day-to-day life. Very, very easy to say, but very, very easy to put in practice. I mean, very difficult to put in practice, but I think I thought I wanted to share this comment in response to Harjeevan's experience.
Jay Baba, I have a question to everybody.
Sure,
If
sure.
a similar situation happens to any one of us. I mean, that means there is a death, and there is also a ceremony. It can be marriage, it can be, but marriage is a very solemn ceremony. So, so the Baba's guidance can be take uh, and use it in similar situation in our daily lives. Can we do that? I mean, this is just a question. If I am open
No,
to
good
thought.
question, and I think my answer is no. Okay, that is for her Jeevan, for Ashok ji, for Sanjay ji, for Dattu ji, and me. It's different, right? So it's
Yeah.
all driven by the circumstances that one is faced with, and that's why I said it's important for us to cultivate this ability to reach out to Baba and get his opinion on things. Some have mastered it more than others, but I think as lovers, it's important that we do that. Personally, I think Mama ji knows this is actually very close to my life, because what happened is I lost my father after my wedding was scheduled, and in fact, it was, I think, 10 to 15 days before the wedding that my father passed away. And at that time, um, I was actually, my mother had passed away 10 months before. Then my father passed away, like I said, after we had scheduled the wedding. And at that time, with collective leadership and advice from my immediate community, in which obviously Mamaji also has a important role, it was decided that we defer the wedding, right? So again, I was not aware of this, or I was not, and I don't think I would have thought any other way. But I think it was it. I just thought of that comparison, which is very personal as well. So you cannot take an episode in another person's life to make specific parallels in your life, because it's all of course each one has his own or her own journey, right? I hope that clarifies, Ashok.
Yeah, yeah. It's very nice. Contextual and like different strokes for different folks. So
Exactly, that was the expression I was looking for. Thanks.
and
Yeah.
I just want to share, if it's okay, just 2 minutes. Can I take? Um, so Kumar's father expired in December 8th, and there was a wedding in the family after 21 days of something like that. So, but in that instance, all seniors in their family decided to go ahead with the wedding of his nephew. So it's different for everyone. But I was just see like there's one story we heard from you, and this is my experience that they went on with the wedding, although everybody was in grief. But
Right. No, so there's two ways to look at it, right? So the reason we scheduled my wedding also was linked to the fact that we wanted to complete it before 12 months of my mother's passing. Again,
yeah,
there
yeah,
is belief that it's good, or their presence is somehow there. And again, we know from Baba that we need not worry about these things today. But I bought into that argument at that time,
okay, so
and I wanted to have it within that 12-month period. Now I don't even recollect if the second reschedule was within the 12 month or not, but it doesn't matter.
it's all okay in the time and
Must
space.
have been within 12 months, I think, of your
Okay,
father.
okay.
That, uh,
Oh, of course it was. I'm saying my mother's.
yes,
Mother's 12, I don't think so, because I think it was at least 3 months later. But anyway, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I think it is how Baba wants it and he inspires it. As far as purely from Baba's perspective, if you see, if you read the story of Papa Jasawala passing away and Baba talking to Iraj, which was in Pune, how
Hmm.
what he spoke to Iraj, uh, gives us that Baba doesn't give importance to what we are talking of, scheduling, rescheduling, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 40 days. That's because Viraj, he said that the body is the excrement or the waste of the soul. So from
Mm.
that perspective, and what we finally did was as inspired by Baba and as he wanted. So probably that's the way we can think. The
Yeah,
people
yeah.
around us inspire us, and to take a decision what Baba prompts them
What
to
he
do.
wants. Yes, yes, absolutely. And
That's it.
even the timing of all these things with respect to those individual souls and with those that are impacted by those individual souls, all that timing is as Baba just said here, right? It's all ordained, and we are just uh he says divinely ordained moment. So the fact that I had to experience that grief, and I had to probably be independent in some way, where uh, I did not have the luxury and joy of having my parents around when I got married. All of those was it's all programmed. It's that is the sanskaric context and rules of the game. I couldn't have changed it. So we can do the ifs and buts and game theory, but it's over. That's it. What has to happen will happen. Anyway, let's continue reading. I
No,
think it's a
one
good.
point here which I would
Sure.
like to stress here is that, say, for ardent Baba lovers also, it becomes a difficulty in accepting the ways and means of Baba, because we are bound by the community, we are bound by the society, we are in a mesh where we may not be able to take the decision at the individual level. So all these factors work on the individual. So it's very difficult. So obedience to Baba at the cost of our continued life in the
Community.
community will
So true.
be always at a loggerhead. So many times I have experienced this.
No, no, but that's exactly what he wants. And those are
Yes,
the
yes,
tests that
yes,
we are being constantly put through, like Harjivan. So, in the face of embarrassment, in the face of probably the community wondering what's wrong with him, wife is dead and he's going ahead, he has gone ahead because he just asked Baba, Baba said it, and that's it. Right.
yes,
And I think these accounts help us to understand how Baba wants us to behave,
yes,
right? And what pleases Baba.
So this reminds me of we read seven realities. So real obedience. I mean, come what may.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I mean, I may be repetitive what you said, but this thing came to me that we read the seven realities very often, and it says real obedience. So whatever he says is to be done. Whatever he says. And
Yeah.
my one question is that in Harjivan's case, Baba sent him a telegram. If we come to a dilemma in our lives, how do we get an answer? Has anyone got an answer in the dreams, or how was it that you got an answer? It's a tough question, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's a question that whatever answer we get is personal, right? So if I say something, I can say, hey, this is my experience, right? But it would be misleading to suggest that you should have the same.
Yeah, yeah. So there
Yeah.
are ways in which Baba communicates, but dreams can be one, I think. I mean, dreams, I don't know.
Yeah, dreams can be one, incidents that we experience, Baba's name appearing, responses appearing. All of us have had, right? So he will do it. It's just that, like I said, we have to surrender and uh, tune, tune our ability to listen to him, right? And I'm not there. I'm just saying that from all that I have read of the stories and accounts and people's experiences, some do this better, some do this badly, and I am still in the badly section. So, but we have to sharpen that.
It reminds me of catching up with Vinaka Geetmala on a Wednesday. I mean, the frequency sometimes you get or sometimes you do not get. Anyway, that's just
Yeah,
analogy that.
radio tuning, perfect, right? So first you do the big tuner and then the fine tuning, and once you're connected, it's flawless music, right? If you have a good equipment, you get flawless music, right? So you have to just get to a point where you should be able to talk to Baba like we are talking on this call, right? Baba, this is what I want to do. What do you want to say? And Baba will answer, right? He's available, but we have to get to that. So best of luck.
Thank you.
Okay,
Okay,
continuing.
please.
Like most of Baba's followers, Arjivan was distraught by Baba's most unexpected decision. There was a note of finality to the circular that left Baba's lovers no alternative but to accept his will. They were not even allowed to write a farewell note expressing their loving salutations to him. Divine love is a law unto itself, and when it is manifesting through the life of the avatar, sometimes it is expressed in the most unpredictable and unprecedented way. The
Nick, can
thought
I
that Baba would, yes,
request you to underline this line? It's got a message in this. Divine love is the law. Yeah, there's an underlying message in
divine
this.
love is a law unto itself, and when it is manifesting through the life of the avatar, sometimes it is expressed in the most unpredictable and unprecedented ways. Okay. The thought that Baba would be setting out on a life of hopelessness and helplessness, journeying on foot and begging for food, grieved the hearts of his dear ones. The new life started on October 16th, and by the end of 1949, Baba was in Mehrabad in Uttar Pradesh.
Moradabad.
Moradabad,
Moradabad.
sorry. Mehrabad, it stopped in my mind because Uttar Pradesh came next. Okay. Baba was in Moradabad in Uttar Pradesh. The winter was exceptionally cold that year. When Harjivan came to know through the New Line circular that Baba was in the north of India, his loving concern for Baba's comfort prompted him to ask Baba through an intermediary to allow him to send some warm clothes, blankets, and sweets for Baba and his companions. Baba lovingly agreed to accept this offering. Baba lovingly agreed to accept this offering as bhikta, alms given to wayfarers, which gave timely relief to the new life companions who had been suffering acutely from the cold. But at the same time, he warned the family not to have any further contact or communication with him or his new life companions. Joyfully, Harjivan complied with these instructions, dispatching a large supply of these much needed provisions through one of his employees. The new life ended just as it had begun, unexpectedly, although this time the surprise was much to the delight of his lovers everywhere. At the beginning of February 1952, Baba issued the first life circular, which brought the joyous news that Baba would be taking up residence once more at Maharaj's and resuming contact with his disciples, devotees, and followers. However, they were still not allowed to see Baba until he returned from his visit to the West, which was to last from April to August 1952. Archivan was most eagerly waiting for this first opportunity to be with Baba. In November 1952, Harjivan's joy knew no bounds when he was permitted to accompany Baba on his first visit to Hamirpur and Andhra. During Baba's second visit to Hamirpur in 1954, Harjivan became so drenched in Baba's love that he longed intensely to be with him also during his second tour of Andhra, which was to begin on February 20th. But owing to the illness of his wife and the upcoming marriage of his daughter, he did not accompany Baba in his second Andhra darshan. But then Harjivan's wife unexpectedly died on March 6th, the very day of their daughter's wedding. Harjivan was plunged into terrible grief. After all, he was a family man and not a saint. The memories of his dear wife, who had suddenly passed away, stung his heart and cast a shadow over all that used to delight him. Worse still, in addition to this profound grief over losing her, Arjivan shed tears of repentance for having missed his chance to be with Baba on his glorious second Andhra tour. He even thought that he had only participated in beloved Baba's second Andhra darshan. Perhaps his wife would not have died. Baba might have taken care of her health. The life of the lover is woven with moments of confusion and clarity, suffering and joy, and it is often subjected to overwhelming trials. Harjivan was finally consoled by the letter from Baba, in which it was explained to him that his will is supreme and he knows best. Through Baba's letter, Harjivan came to understand that the purpose of suffering is to initiate a person bound by limitations into the unlimited bliss of God. Through Baba's letter, Harjivan came to understand. The point is that the purpose of suffering is to initiate a person bound by limitations into the unlimited bliss of God. Are not periods of happiness sometimes followed by lessons of almost unbearable agony? But it is also true that every sorrow carries with its own special and intimate message from God. While in Andhra, Baba had revealed in one of his messages that the life of the avatar is like the burning flame, Dhamma, of a divine candle, his human form. The avatar's lovers are like moths, parvanas, in their longing to merge in the avatar's being. They do not care if their wings are burnt while hovering around the flame. Arjivan's commitment to Baba's wish on March 6 and his consequent agony of heart present a moving example of the avatar's all-consuming love and lover's response to it. I will read the paragraph. While in Andhra, Baba had revealed in one of his messages that the life of the avatar is like the burning flame, Dhamma, of a divine candle, his human form. The avatar's lovers are like moths, parvanas, in their longing to merge in the avatar's being. They do not care if their wings are burnt while hovering around the flame. Arjivan's commitment to Baba's wish on March 6 and his consequent agony of heart present a moving example of the avatar's all-consuming love and the lover's response to it. So, all-consuming is also important here. Burning flame consumes all things. Okay.
I think this is a very, we also encountered another article that we read, if you remember. This is a very commonly used Sufi analogy, part of many ghazals and many poems, where the moth, in its intense attraction to the light, gets attracted so much to the light and proceeds rapidly towards that light, uh, even even if it is aware that it's going to destroy itself, right? And then it
Yes.
just offers itself in union. So that is offered. I mean, that's given as a analogy for divine love.
Yeah.
Shama Parwana. I'm sure Sanjay ji will know three ghazals with Shama Parwana in it.
I, would it be worth underlining this? I mean, I think it's a very good.
Yes, yes. Jai Baba.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone else can take over. Right?
Sure. Um, Anybody else wants to read?
Yeah, I'll continue. I'll continue.
Yes.
Unless Sanjay ji wants to read first.
No, no, you go ahead, and
No,
then if
actually,
Sanjay ji
I am
wants.
into a lot of things at home.
Okay. Good.
I'm just listening. Yeah,
Okay,
Jai
okay.
Baba.
Sure,
Okay,
sure.
no
Jai
problem.
Baba, Jai Baba.
I just thought everybody
So
should
you
know.
read Ashok ji, and when you want to break, I'll take over. No problem. Jai Baba.
You just tell me when you want to come in. That's okay.
Sure. Jai Baba.
Avatar Meher Baba ki jai. Returned from Andhra, left for Sakori. It had been my great and blessed good fortune to be allowed to accompany Baba on his marvelous and most moving Andhra tour. Early on the morning of March 6th, I alighted from the train at my hometown, Kurduwadi, while Baba and the Mandli proceeded to Pune. I resumed my duties at school the same day. I wonder whether the students learned anything from me in those first classes. I was still enthralled by the spell that the Andhra Darshan had cast over me. Although I had returned physically to Kurduwadi, my heart was still soaring in some unearthly realm, beguiled by memories of Baba's elegant movements and lively presence. Inwardly, I was still reliving those precious moments spent in his company, while my mind went about his business in a most mechanical fashion. On the
Just
next,
draw your attention to the beautiful language that Bal Natu uses, right? My heart was still soaring in some unearthly realm, beguiled by memories of Baba's elegant movements and lively presence. I mean, it just almost comes to life in our eyes as we read this. So he's such a beautiful writer.
Yeah, yeah.
yes,
It's a poetry written in prose.
Yes, exactly,
Okay.
exactly, exactly. Uh, Please continue.
on the next day, Sunday, March 7th, I hardly came out of my room, but mostly lay in bed, reminiscing over the exhilarating events of the precious 2 weeks in Andhra. I felt as though I were still accompanying Baba in that land of green paddy fields and tall, swaying palm trees, watching faces dazed with joy and lit with Baba's divine presence. Words fail to express what Baba conveyed to his dear ones through a simple glance or a pat on the shoulder. And the actual verbal messages that Baba gave, spelled out on the board or through gestures, communicate to people with luminous clarity the fundamental truths of life. The following words may help to capture the essence of messages which Baba gave in Andhra. God alone is real. There is nothing but God. Everyone is God. Everything is God. To awaken this truth in humanity, Infinite God periodically assumes a human form known as the avatar. Wholeheartedly loving the avatar, God become man is the most natural way of realizing the goal of life, union with God the Eternal.
What a beautiful summary. So this I think in Bal Natu's words, but he's captured the essence of Baba's biggest and broadest and most important message to humanity. So I would kindly request you to read this again.
Yes, exactly. You're mirroring my thought. God alone is real. There is nothing but God. Everyone is God. Everything is God. To awaken this truth in humanity, infinite God periodically assumes human form, known as the avatar. Wholeheartedly loving the avatar, God become man, is the most natural way of realizing the goal of life, union with the eternal. The
This
last
is
sentence is very, very
Union, yeah, union with God the Eternal.
God.
wholeheartedly loving the avatar, God become man, is the most natural way of realizing the goal of life, union with God the eternal. Yes.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
It is mesmerizing. Anyway,
Yeah.
uh, the entire
Simple
visit,
yet profound, and
yes,
something that we can share with people if somebody asks us what is Baba's message. Baba's message is just this: God alone is real. There's nothing but God. Everyone and everything is God. To awaken this truth, infinite God comes down to finitehood and assumes a human form, and wholeheartedly loving that form, that avatar, that God who has become man, is the most natural way of realizing our goal. And what is that goal? Union with God. Simple.
Mm.
All the rest is detail and technical gobbledygook. Sixth plane, seventh plane, Nirvana versus
Nirvikalpa, Nirvana.
Nirvikalpa Samadhi, and Panapila versus all that is just detail, right? Anyway,
2 points are very clear in this. One is everything is God. God alone is there. So nothing beyond God or within God or anything like that. The other one is how do we realize this is by loving the avatar.
so
So
the
love was
suggestion
God.
is there are many ways, but the most
Yeah.
natural way, he
Yes.
says, right? He says the most natural way is just loving him. Yeah.
So, Mamaji, to build up on what you said, it reminds me of uh, the uncaused cause. He's the beginning and the end, or whatever way you think of it. But this is really profound uh, and simple for and in Hindi you can say just have shraddha and total belief.
Yes.
The continue the entire visit
Please.
to Andhra had been a feast of love spread for many thousands of people, including hundreds of his devoted lovers. Soon after my return home, I received a letter written under Baba's direct instructions by Bhav Kachuri. Although short, the letter expressed Baba's love and his sense of humor. Enclosed with it was a copy of his message. Existence is substance, life is shadow.
I think that's from Everything and the Nothing. No, oh, it's from here. It's already in volume 5.
Page
Oh
275.
yes, we read it. Yes, I remember. And then there is a cross reference, multiple cross references along with it. Yeah.
This entire message had been read out in the early hours of the morning of March 2nd at the workers' meeting in Rajamundry, Andhra Pradesh. Baba had now asked me to translate this message from English into Marathi. Not being a learned person, I did not find this job easy. In fact, I had difficulty even in translating the title, to say nothing of elucidating the spiritual subtleties throughout the text. To this day, I am not confident about the words I use and the way in which I translated this message. However, I must mention, I must mention that the part of the message that touched my heart was its most marvelous ending. In it, Baba pointed out that the four different types of yoga, karma, dhyan, raj, and bhakti, serve as signposts on the way leading to God. Then he introduced a fifth type, the yoga of self-surrender, Atma Samarpan. At the end of this message, Baba stated, if you seek to live perpetually, even crave for the death of your deceptive self at the hands of complete surrender to me, I'll just read this again. If you
Yes.
seek to live perpetually, then crave for the death of your deceptive self at the hands of complete surrender to me. This yoga is the essence of all yogas in one. Para- Somebody say something?
No, no,
Perhaps
I was repeating that. Okay, go ahead.
you want me to repeat it? Okay. If you seek to live perpetually, then crave for the death of your deceptive self at the hands of complete surrender to me. This yoga is the essence of all yogas in one. Perhaps this statement about the fifth yoga was a personal message which Baba brought home to me through the excuse of entrusting me with this translation work. In the letter,
So
beloved Baba,
yeah, I just want to make one point. So maybe Bal Natu is not as comfortable in Marathi, and that's why he's saying this was a challenge, and he's not able to come to terms with it. But otherwise, his command over language we have been seeing, right, is amazing over English. So I think maybe the translation to Marathi is where he's thinking twice.
yeah, but now we have technology to help that.
Dangerous technology, which can also
Okay.
make mistakes. Yeah.
Yes, it's dangerous technology. Yes, you have to review and edit.
Yes.
In the letter, beloved Baba had asked me to arrange for the printing and distribution of this pamphlet. Although coming up with the money for this project was not easy for me, Baba had also added that I was not to ask him for monetary help, not even in my wildest dreams. This bit of Baba's humor gladdened my heart as it seemed to pluck on the happy strings of his intimacy with me. At the end of the letter, Baba had sent me his love, a sign that things would arrange themselves naturally and that all would be well. It was still difficult to apply myself to this task, but as I began, I found that it helped bring me back to earth. It shook me out of my Andhra reveries, helping me to concentrate on my daily duties at school. Meanwhile, the plans for Baba's upcoming darshan programs were proceeding apace. On his return to Ahmednagar from Mahabaleshwar, Adi discussed with Sarojini, one of the Mandali and a former mayor of the city, the possibility of arranging a mass darshan in Ahmednagar on March 21st. Following Baba's visit to Sakori on March 20th, after contacting several prominent local citizens, the two disciples returned to Mahabaleshwar on March 10th. There they reported to Baba the various pros and cons of his proposed Ahmednagar darshan. Baba listened to the free and frank discussion that took place between Adi, Sarosh, and the other resident Mandali, which focused on the practicality of such a program at this time. Baba often wanted discussions of this kind in the course of arranging for a program. In the end, Baba judiciously decided to postpone the darshan in Ahmednagar until May. At the close of this meeting, Adi read out a draft of the circular which Baba had asked him to compose. This text was approved by Baba and was issued on March 15th. It was the shortest of all the life circulars and in its entirety read. Baba desires that, with effect from today up to the end of May 1954, no one should correspond with him on any subject whatsoever. Process 7, Life Circular number 17, March 15, 1954. Adi was instructed to mail this information to Baba centers in India and to all of Baba's intimate devotees and followers. After returning from his latest visit to Baba, Adi set out for Sakori to finalize the details of Baba's brief visit to Upasninagar on March 20th. These arrangements attended to, he dispatched a telegram of reconfirmation to Baba. Adi also sent me a letter informing me that I would be allowed to accompany Baba on his Sakori visit. He mentioned that he had reserved a seat for me in a van that was to follow his car. Baba's kind
Yeah,
consent.
I have not encountered this before, so maybe it's next to Sakuri, and it's named after Upasni Maharaj. So Upasni Maharaj had his ashram, it has his ashram in Sakuri. Maybe it's after that. And by the way, the Kurduwadi that we encountered earlier is, I think, 40, 30, 40, or maybe max 1 hour journey from Ahmednagar station on the downed Ahmednagar section of the um, uh, tracks. Yeah, so he's very close. Bal Natu stays very close to Baba.
We can probably later on locate these places on a map.
Yeah. So I've frequently seen it. Yeah, on the train. Yeah, we can do that as well. Yes.
Right. Yeah. Baba's kind concern in permitting me to accompany him to Sakori had a special significance for me. As a teenager, I had read in a Marathi monthly some very negative articles about Pasni Maharaj. In my ignorance of true spirituality and in my youthful patriotic fervor, I regarded Maharaj as a parasite of society and passed some sarcastic remarks about him. Even after coming into the orbit of Meher Baba's love, it came as a mild shock to me to learn that Maharaj was one of his Sadgurus. I would never have dreamt, I would never have dreamed that the day would come when I would be eager to visit Sakori. However, in his all forgiving presence, Baba, by allowing me to visit Maharaj's ashram, was helping me to wipe out my feelings of guilt connected with the Sadguru, Upasni. So it was in the most delightful of spirits that on March 19th, I left Kurtuwadi for Ahmednagar to accompany Baba on his Sakuri visit. Sakuri, Maharaj and Gulmai, Chopri and Pinjara. Before narrating the events of Meher Baba's visit to Sakori, I feel it appropriate to give some background information about a few important places in Sakori and about a few prominent people accompanied Baba or referred to by him in his conversation with those who gathered there on the day March 20, 1954. Sakori itself is a small village near Rahata in the district of Ahmednagar. After wandering for over 2 years, Upasani Maharaj finally settled there in 1918. This became his headquarters. In later years, his disciples constructed many buildings around the original Jhopdi hut where Maharaj stayed. This larger community and complex of buildings came to be known as Upasani Nagar. Later, an institution was founded at Sakori named Kanya Kumari Stan. Kanya means virgin. Some virgin girls really came to stay at Sakori and led their lives under the direction of Maharaj. Chief among those was Godavari Mai, who first came for Maharaj's darshan as a young girl of 9 years in 1924. On first seeing her, Maharaj called out, "Come on, be quick. I've been waiting for you." As foretold by Maharaj, Godavari Mai later became the head of the ashram. Most of Maharaj's followers were Hindus, and the talks he gave were in Marathi, the vernacular spoken in Maharashtra. However, there were also a few Zoroastrian Parsi families that were drawn to him, and they wholeheartedly accepted him as their master or Sadguru. Ustadji, Mehra, and other close disciples of Baba's had stayed with Upasni at various times in the 1920s. Yet, particularly relevant to our present story is Gulmai, the mother of Adi, Meher Baba's secretary. In fact, Gulmai was the only woman to accompany Baba on his present visit to Sakori. It seems like that Baba had specially asked her to come with him owing to her long standing connections with Maharaj and the Sakori ashram. So, Gulmai was also referred to as the spiritual mother of Baba, right?
Correct. Correct.
From the time she was young, Gulmai had been spiritually inclined and she first visited Upasni Maharaj as early as 1921. It was then that she also saw Meherwan, as Baba had called then was called then for the first time. She was impressed with his genuine devotion to Maharaj and his interest in arranging bhandaras, free meals open to all people in remembrance of God at Sakori. She felt very familiar with Meherwan, but at the time, Gulmai remained one pointed in her devotion to Maharaj. In fact, in fact, Gulmai became so devoted to Maharaj that while meditating before his picture at her home in Ahmednagar, she would often lose herself in a trance-like state. Her husband, Kai Kushru, swayed by the warnings of elders of the Parsi community, became worried about her love for a Hindu master. To honor her husband's wishes, Gulmai allowed him to remove Maharaj's picture from her room. It was around this time that her two sons, Rustam and Adi, met Meher Baba at Pune. They were so drawn to him that they willingly gave up their worldly careers and surrendered their lives to him. Meherwan, now called Meher Baba, began to visit Rustam and Adi in Ahmednagar. Gulmai thus began to come into frequent contact with Baba. Over time, these visits engendered within her a tug of war, for she began to feel unsure as to whether to give her total allegiance to Maharaj or to Meher Baba, or how to balance the devotion she felt for both. In the course of time, Maharaj and Baba inwardly and outwardly helped Gulmai to resolve this conflict in their own unique ways. One day in the 20s, Baba kindly revealed to Gulmai and his mandli that she was his spiritual mother. Naturally, Gulmai's spontaneous love for Meher Baba and the inner feeling of deep connection with him was strengthened by this loving remark. At the same time, Baba continued always to show such deep respect and love for Maharaj that Gulmai's conflict was lessened to some extent. It was further reduced by an incident that occurred in the 30s when Maharaj, on his own initiative, visited Gulmai's house, then called Kushu Quarters, now known as the Avatar Meher Baba Trust Compound. Maharaj went straight to the room that was always kept entirely at his disposal, sending his secretary off to do some errands in the city. Then he sat for a while on a gunny sack. Later, when Adi and Vilmai entered the room, they were astounded to find Maharaj standing with folded hands before Baba's picture, looking intently into his fascinating eyes. Turning to them, Maharaj said, I like this photograph. I like Meherwan. He is unique. I bow before him. Please convey my salutations to him. Maharaj continued, give me a tray and a lamp. I want to perform Aarti to Meherwan today. Gulmai fetched the tray and Maharaj began waving the lighted lamp before Baba's picture, chanting mantras in Sanskrit. Such touches of the master made it easier for her to love and serve Baba wholeheartedly without feeling that she was in any way betraying her devotion to Maharaj. Perhaps, in fact, it was at this moment that Gulmai truly accepted Meher Baba as the avatar of the age. Coincidentally, the date of Maharaj's visit was February 16th, which according to Zoroastrian calendar was Baba's 43rd birthday. Thus, Gulmai, like several others in the Baba's group, was intimately familiar with the Sakuri ashram, its layout, and its prominent persons. Since several of the places and buildings in Sakuri, especially the Pinjara and Jhopri, were charged with an important spiritual history relating not only to Maharaj but to Baba as well, I would like to recount something of their history. Beginning from October 11th, 1911, Sai Baba instructed Upasni Maharaj to stay at Shirdi. Under Sai Baba's direct orders, Maharaj spent 3 years living in the Khandova temple, about half a mile from where Sai Baba himself resided. In 1914, Maharaj left Shirdi and travelled through parts of northeastern India, staying for some months in Nagpur and Kharagpur. In 1980, in 1918, at the request of some of his devotees, Maharaj decided to settle down in Sakori, a tiny village about 4 miles from Shirdi. The site he selected for his permanent abode was in a cremation ground outside the village. A jhopdi hut of mud walls was built for his residence. On October 15th, Sai Baba passed away. In his honor, a small temple was built in front of the jhopdi and Sai Baba's picture was placed in it for worship. In the latter part of 1920, this temple was blown away by a violent gust of wind and had to be rebuilt. At the same time, it was felt essential to build several rooms and a dharmshala to accommodate the ever-increasing number of devotees visiting Sakuri. Maharaj gave his approval to this new construction work, but to avoid the bustle of this building activity, he had a quickly improvised jhopdi put up for himself some distance away. The site preferred and chosen by Maharaj was in an old cremation ground, thickly overgrown with prickly pear cactuses. Few ventured to go there because of the thorns and snakes. Maharaj neither liked nor allowed anyone to approach him in that new jhopri. He would drive away those who dared to approach him by pelting them with stones. Any time of the day when he wished to see his devotees, he would go on his own to the original jhopri. The move to the new jhopri and Maharaj's sudden desire for isolation may seem arbitrary or even capricious. But from the events that followed, it seems to have been the divinely ordained time for Maharaj to begin a unique and special life. For it was Maharaj's role to remove completely from Meherwan that veil which had been placed on him by the five perfect masters. Meherwan was the human form assumed by infinite consciousness, and it was for Maharaj to prepare him to function as the avatar. Outwardly, the excuse Maharaj gave for the shift of his dwelling place was the din and noise of the construction work near the original Tirupati. But inwardly, the reason was that Maharaj wanted to have complete privacy, for he knew that soon Meherwan would be coming for his final unveiling, and it was Maharaj's part to establish him as the avatar of the age. Meherwan had been coming periodically to visit Maharaj since 1915, but usually his visits were of short duration. In July 1921, bringing almost nothing with him, Meherwan arrived at Sakori and remained there continuously for about 6 months. During the daytime, he stayed in a makeshift room near the Tatta temple, but he spent nights secluded with Maharaj in the new Jhopri. It was here that the most momentous event in spiritual history was taking place. Meherwan's final unveiling that consciously established him in his status as the Ancient One. The Ashramites and the disciples and the devotees of Maharaj had no idea what was really happening in the secluded Jhopri. Karthik, you would like to take over?
Yeah, yeah, sure. I was just waiting
Thank
for a
you.
section break, but yeah, thank you very
You,
much.
you
Thank you
want me
for
to
reading.
you want me to continue till the section?
No, 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 it's okay. Okay. Uh, Star Meher Baba Ki Jai. During Baba's night visits to Maharaj, no one else was permitted inside or around the Jhopadi. But generally, by 2 a.m., Baba would take leave of Maharaj and return to his nearby improvised room. He did not sleep there, but he would allow Yashwant Rao, who was attending him at that time, to press his feet. During this long Sakori stay, in evident defiance of the laws of nature, Baba had almost completely stopped taking food. Yet he would often ask for pan at any time during the night or day. Each time, Yashwantrao would lovingly prepare it for him. The months of November and December are quite cold in Maharashtra, and Baba had brought with him only a few cotton clothes. Tending once again to Baba's needs, Yashwantrao made him a coat out of a kind of warm, thick but coarse blanket known as kamli, which is still preserved in the museum at Mehrabad. In all these and other ways, it was Yashwant Rao's blessed good fortune to serve the avatar devotedly at the very beginning of this advent. This loving service Yashwant Rao performed in obedience to the wish of Maharaj, who told him in the early 1920s, Mervan is Parabrahma, God the Beyond. Do what tells you to do. One night in December 1921, near the end of Merwan's last and longest stay in Sakori, when he and Maharaj were together in the new Jhopadi, Maharaj folded his hands to Merwan and said, Merwan, you are the avatar. You are Adi Shakti, primordial divine power. This spontaneous proclamation of Nirvan's spiritual status as avatar or ancient one seemed to indicate that Maharaj's work of removing the veil placed upon the infinite consciousness of Nirvan was complete. It was after this moment that Nirvan began to function consciously as avatar. And so, a few days later, shortly after December 1921, Nirvan left Sakori for Pune. About this time, Maharaj declared to his disciples and devotees that the evil spirits which had infested the cremation ground where the new jhopri had been constructed were now liberated. What divine pretense and mischievous humor! Maharaj now allowed all ashramites and pilgrims to visit him freely, much to their delight and joy. However, on December 25th, 1921, when they all came for Maharaj's darshan, they were alarmed to find that he had confined himself in a small bamboo pinjra cage with no exit. Maharaj had contrived to do this with the help of one obedient disciple who was an excellent carpenter. Asking this disciple secretly to bring the needed materials and tools, Maharaj entered the pinjra unobserved by his devotees and had it nailed closed around him. Still maintained at Sakori in its original place, the pinjra is 5 feet high, 6 feet long, and 5 feet wide. The three sides were enclosed with bamboo bars, while a wall behind it formed the fourth side. The top was also covered. The ashramites and the devotees were greatly upset and deeply grieved to find Maharaj in this condition, as his movements were now totally restricted. He was unable to stand upright. He could not leave the cage even for answering nature's call. Yet, this self imposed confinement was fraught with spiritual significance. A few days later, Maharaj, in a calm and cheerful mood, explained the matter thus: It is the will of Providence that, for your sakes, I have to confine myself in this manner. I wish to stand surety for all my devotees in the divine court. This confinement is to release you from the bonds of Maya, the greatest prison. Whosoever will breathe his last while thinking of it, the Pinjara, will, without doubt, attain the state of eternal bliss. Maharaj continued with this tortuous inconvenience of self confinement for over 2 years. Finally, on January 31, 1924, he called the same carpenter to open a doorway in the Pinjara. From then on, he would go in and out of it at his will and pleasure. Maharaj dropped his body on December 24, 1942. This occurred in the premises of the new Jhopri, where Maharaj had spent many nights all alone with Nirvan to unveil him as the avatar. The next day, December 25th, Maharaj's body was lowered into a pit a little to the east and adjacent to the Pinjra, where coincidentally he had confined himself on that very date exactly 20 years earlier. This pit was then covered and a samadhi was built enclosed on four sides. In accordance with Upasani Maharaj's instructions, Godavari Mai and the Kanyas continued to conduct the activities of the ashram. After about 3 weeks, on January 13, 1942, Maharaj's full-size statue was installed inside the Pinjara. Later, a large Sabha Mandap, a big hall, was built around the Pinjara and Samadhi. This place became the pivot and center of ashram life in Upasani Nagar. It was in this Sabha Mandap that Baba, on his visit to Sakori on March 20th, 1954, took his seat with Godavari Mai by his side and gave his sahvas to the assembled company. Baba reminiscences in Sakori. On the afternoon of March 19th, 1954, Baba arrived at Mehrazad. Early the next morning, Sarosh drove Baba along with Kaka, Eruch, Nariman, and Meherji from Mehrazad to Sakori. Adi drove separately in his Chevy with his mother, Gulmai. Two additional vans took the rest of the Mandali and a few others, including myself, who had been allowed to accompany Baba. Saturday, the 19th, had been a full moon night. As we left Ahmednagar just before dawn, the full moon was slowly sinking, while in the east the sun was rising in splendor. With the cool morning breezes, it was a pleasant journey for us. For the general public, too, this was a special day indeed, a day of fun and festivity. For on the previous night, the local populace had lit large bonfires in their villages to celebrate Holi, a Hindu festival that marks the end of winter and the beginning of spring. Our two vans reached Rahata, a small town a mile or so from Sakori, in advance of Baba's car. We got down and joined the crowd from the village that had already gathered to welcome Baba. When he arrived, he graciously accepted the homage with his charming smile. The vehicles then proceeded to Sakori, turning off the main road. When everyone had entered Upasni Nagar, just outside the premises of the ashram proper, Baba stopped at the newly built house of Yashwant Rao, that same devoted disciple of Maharaj who had served him so faithfully 3 decades before. This housewarming celebration began with the garlanding of Baba and the breaking of coconuts. The pieces of coconut meat were then distributed as Baba's prasad, along with the pieces of sugar candy, a sweet beginning to a memorable visit at Sakori. The warmth of Baba's compassionate companionship was flowing, radiating from his silent divine presence. Those who accompanied Baba were in the best of moods as they walked with him. On Baba's arrival at the ashram, Upasni Kanyakumari Sthan, Godavari Mai, the mother of the ashram, together with Gigi Bagh and other old disciples of Maharaj, gave him a very rousing reception. A band played, guns were fired, and Baba was led to a beautifully decorated awning where he was garlanded by Maharaj's disciples. Then all took Baba's darshan, placing their foreheads on his feet. Godavari Mai, although now the head of the entire ashram, likewise bowed down to Baba without hesitation, the way she used to pay homage to Maharaj. Baba was very pleased. There was a look of appreciation on his face and a twinkle in his eye. Baba then walked freely in and around the Jopri and the different temples, followed by Godavari Mai, the Kanyas, and some of the Mandali. During this tour, a kaleidoscope of expressions flashed in quick succession across Baba's face, perhaps owing to his own intimate familiarity with these places from his early years in Sakori. After taking tea, Baba led the others to Maharaj's Samadhi, close to the Pinjra, which houses his statue. Taking his seat on the ground with Godavari Mai and Gulmai sitting on his right, Baba gestured to the Kanyas to make themselves comfortable. He had previously dictated a special message to be read out on this occasion, but now, apparently in a reminiscent mood, he wished instead to convey some intimate memories of Sakori to those gathered there, especially the Kanyas. There were possibly 200 people present, some sitting, others standing at the edge of the crowd. Moment, Moments spent in beloved Baba's presence during any darshan or sahvas were so full and so moving that taking notes was a distraction for me. I had learned, however, that on such occasions Baba would sometimes spontaneously convey points of great spiritual profundity that he rarely repeated. So, this time, to keep alive the memories of these timeless moments of love and wonder, I made the effort to take notes. These notes, consisting of words and lines that I jotted down quickly while Baba's board was being read out and his gestures interpreted, are the basis of the account that follows. The task of reconstructing what Baba said during this spontaneous talk was made more difficult by the fact that Baba alternated freely between three languages: Marathi, Gujarati, and English. It was not easy for me, working from my hurried scribblings, to follow and recapture exactly what Baba had conveyed. I had to read between the lines and reconstruct the flow of ideas as best as I could. The following record of Baba's informal reminiscences are, to the best of my knowledge, close in meaning to what originally transpired, but they definitely should not be taken as a verbatim recounting. After all, the people had taken their seats and made themselves comfortable. Baba paused for a few moments longer, casting his loving glance upon the assembly. Then, with a benign smile, he began. Upasni Maharaj is now witness to what I convey to you. Before I come to the special phase of Maharaj's work with the Kanyas, I have to go back to the earlier part of my life. At the outset, I want you all to know that one of the aspects of God is infinite honesty. The least hypocrisy keeps you away from Him. Now, to begin, Babajan kissed me on my forehead in January 1914, and that very instant I experienced my infinite ancient one state. This experience will ever remain beyond words. However, to give you some idea, first I entered the infinite vacuum. Nothing was there. No one, no Akash, primordial matter. The gross, subtle, and mental worlds cease to exist even as illusion. This was followed by the infinite bliss of self realization. But soon after, for 9 months, I had to go through indescribable spiritual agonies, and something urged me to come down to normal human consciousness. I began to dash my forehead against walls and stones. And as my forehead used to bleed, I would tie a kerchief around my head. Finally, this urge brought me to Shirdi. When I prostrated myself on a dirt road before Sai Baba, he uttered in a loud voice just one word: Parvardigar, God Almighty as the preserver and sustainer. This contact with Sai Baba led me to Khandoba's temple, which was most unclean. Here, Maharaj, who was reduced to a skeleton, was sitting almost naked. Now, see the paradox. I saw no one except myself everywhere. As I approached Maharaj, he flung a stone at me. It hit me on the forehead and drew blood. This blow left a permanent mark on Baba's forehead. That spot was the same place on my forehead where Babajan had kissed me. That hit was the first stroke of Gyan that initiated my apparent coming down from the infinite ancient state. After several meetings and contacts with Maharaj over a period of 7 years, I established myself in the full, normal human consciousness of man as the God man. Then I had both the infinite divine and the ordinary human simultaneously harmonized in me. This was in 1921. Baba's eyes flashed as he looked toward where the Kanyas were sitting, intently listening to him. He continued, Now, I want you all to listen very carefully. Maharaj helped me to establish myself in my role and status as the Ancient One and entrusted me with the avataric work of this age. Then he engaged himself with his own spiritual work ordained by the divine will. However, with this change, he outwardly commenced something new, his work with the Kanyas, and this made Durga Mai, Maharaj's spiritual mother, upset and angry. Baba was referring here to a rather stormy phase in the Sakori ashram in the 1930s that was well known to those living there at the time of Baba's visit in 1954. But since few readers will be familiar with this old conflict whose scars Baba was now wiping away with the healing balm of his infinite love and understanding, I feel a little supplementary information would be helpful. Durga Bai, whom Baba always referred to as Durga Mai, was a widow. Bai is a term of respect, while Mai means mother. She came to stay in Shirdi with her small son Raghanath so that she could spend her life in Sai Baba's service. Later, Sai Baba gave her the duty of looking after Upasani when he was living in the Khandoba temple between 1911 and 1914. At that time, Maharaj was refusing to allow anyone near him, hurling abuse and stones at all who approached. His body was slowly becoming thinner and thinner until he resembled a skeleton. Durga Bai would bring Upasani food and, despite his threats and abuses, would insist that he partake of it. It was as though she had become his mother, and Maharaj would submit to her ministrations at a time when he would not accept them from anyone else. When Maharaj settled in Sakori, Durgabai went along also to continue serving him. In this way, from the beginning, Durgabai became the unofficial manager of Maharaj's ashram, and she was entirely devoted to Maharaj. Later, when Merwan visited him there, Durgabai looked after him as well. Once, Maharaj said to her, Merwan will one day shake the world. This made Durgabai very happy, and she began to serve and love Merwan all the more. Although Maharaj revealed Merwan's real status to only a few of his followers like Durgabai and Yashwant Rao, nonetheless, he would occasionally refer to Baba as Mahadev, the great Lord, which did not please some of his Hindu disciples. Religious attachments have their own intrinsic value and in some ways are beneficial. When they become rigid and fanatical, however, the prejudices that they create are difficult to overcome. When Maharaj came out of the Pinjara on January 31st, 1924, he wished to start a new phase of his work. And within a few months, a 9-year-old girl came to visit him. This girl's name was Godavari, and she began visiting Maharaj frequently. He always took a special interest in her. On one occasion, he told her, "Keep in mind all that you're seeing here. At present, Durga Bai looks after the ashram and the visitors. Later, you will have to do this." Although Durga Bai had by now been with Maharaj for 13 years and believed in his spiritual perfection, she began to feel jealous. Maharaj then started spending more time with Godavari and other young virgins who, with the permission of their parents, came to dedicate their lives to God under Maharaj's direction. These youngsters, whom Maharaj referred to as Kanyas, became the major focus of Maharaj's new work. He instructed them in the performance of Vedic rituals, taught them sacred Sanskrit mantras, and established the Kanya Kumari Sthan. Godavari was the chief participant in these Vedic rites. Maharaj seemed to be concentrating his work on the feminine aspect of God, at times even dressing as a woman himself. The time and attention Maharaj was showering on the Kanyas aroused a certain amount of jealousy in Durgabai. At the same time, some of the more orthodox among his followers were upset because they did not consider it proper for women to be performing these sacred Vedic rites. So, a faction formed opposing them. This faction took advantage of Durga Bai's jealousy and her basically innocent and trusting nature by telling her things which turned her against Godavari. She started to use her position as the ashram head to make Godavari's life very difficult. This dissension among the devotees continued for some years until Durgabai finally left Sakori for Sholapur in 1933. Her understanding of the relationship between Maharaj and the Kanyas was later exploited by some orthodox Hindu scholars who wanted to repudiate Maharaj's spiritual status. For them, Durga Bai's dissatisfaction with Upasni Maharaj, despite her long stay with him and the major role she had occupied in the ashram activities, served as a justification for their accusations, which they disseminated in articles in Marathi journals. Several years later, Durga Bai realized her mistake and repented deeply. By this time, she had become frail and feeble. Maharaj not only lovingly forgave her, but he also expressed his special concern by seeing to her medical care and arranging for her to receive a monthly allowance until her death on May 6, 1939. A Sadguru's love for his devotees is unconditional, and his ways of wiping out their mental impressions are often very mysterious. Despite the period of several years when she opposed Maharaj, Durga Bai remained one of his close disciples. In fact, Meher Baba once confirmed to his early disciples that she was indeed Maharaj's spiritual mother. So, by referring to Durga Bai's jealousy in his 1954 Sakori visit, Baba was recalling a major controversy that occurred in the later years of Maharaj's ministry. All this was a part of Maharaj's spiritual work of wiping away the impressions of his followers to get them closer to God. Interesting story. So let me see if we can finish. No, there's quite a bit. But this is very, very interesting, as you can imagine, as Baba is recounting some very, very special things. Anyway, I think we will stop at this point and continue
Yeah.
next week because there's
There
quite a bit.
there is an account of Iret's talk on the mumlihall.org describing this visit.
Oh, okay,
So
okay.
you can search there and listen to. Yeah.
Sure. Thank you. That's a good idea.
There are many pictures of this visit also available. One of them I just
Yes.
posted. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Many pictures.
And also, there is a photograph of Meher Baba, I think, clicked during that visit in Sakori. So they have kept it there.
Yeah, many
He
pictures.
and
That's
he
what I
and
said.
yeah, correct.
Yeah.
correct.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, many pictures of it.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
Baba
So
said Godavari Mice was Yashoda when he was Krishna.
oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So that's the
Okay.
relationship. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
Wonderful. Okay. So
Vasni Maharaj had visited Khushru quarters, and there's a room there which has some of
yes.
uh, his seat or resting bed there.
Yes.
And
Yes.
there's a beautiful painting done by someone called Virkar. Surname is Virkar. And that's a very, very beautiful and very lively painting of Upasni Maharaj in that room. So next time you
Okay.
visit, just have a look at these pictures into his eyes and very, very real. Yeah, very much. Jai Baba.
Sanjay ji, very good insight about Gulmai that she was.
You're not audible. Ashokji, you are very far from the mic.
I said very good insight. Am I audible now? Sorry.
Yeah, better.
Uh, I'm just saying that it's very good insight into what Godavari Mai was in the earlier advents.
Yes, yes. Yes, yes.
And this photograph which you mentioned, it is where I could.
In
Trust
Khushru
compound.
quarters, there is a room
Achha, sir.
in the Trust Ashram. Khushru quarters means Trust Ashram. There is a room which Upasni Maharaj had visited. It's on the west, just opposite the main entrance gate. On the other side, there is a room, Upasni Maharaj's room. So there is.
Quarters
There's
in
this one.
Sakori.
Yeah.
No, that's in
Hello?
Ahmednagar. It's the trust
Ahmednagar.
compound.
Our
Ashokji.
trust
It's
compound.
Oh, okay.
Meher Baba Trust Compound,
Yeah.
AMB PPT,
That
there is a room. Yeah.
Okay.
correct. So if you recollect what we read
So,
in the last few minutes, there was
yeah.
a episode where he performs arti to a photo of Meher Baba. Upasni Maharaj performs an arti
Mm-hmm.
to Meher Baba's photograph. That is the
Mm-hmm.
room that Sanjay ji is talking about. I have seen the room and the photograph
Yeah.
of Meher Baba, but I don't remember this other photograph. I should
Yeah.
probably
It's
notice
as
the
you
next
enter,
time.
it is on the when you enter, it is on the left wall, and it's a very big,
Mm,
quite a large portrait of him painting, and
correct.
that's the place we can, without going to Sakori, connect with Supasni Maharaj in a way. Go to that
Yeah,
room and sit for a while. It gives you that very beautiful feeling.
yeah, yeah.
Hey, wow.
Jai Baba, Jai Baba. Thank you all for joining, and see you all tomorrow as we pick up with pick up action with Bhau Kalchuri's
Mhm.
book tomorrow. Yeah.
So, I'm just saying that we have Baba's presence and blessings because a long-awaited rain has been there for last 2 days. It intensified in Pune. So, as Gadekar ji has said that whenever it rains, it means it is Baba's presence. Jai
Absolutely.
Baba.
Jai Baba, Jai Baba. Thank you,
Jai
thank
Baba.
you.
Jai Baba.
I know
Jai
Jai
Baba.
Baba.
it sounds hilarious, but rain is required.
You know, I think what Gadekar must be
Sorry.
when it rains without a schedule, unexpectedly, then
Unexpectedly.
definitely it is Baba. Now is the season. It will rain for 3 months.
But
So
Jai
I was
Baba.
just as Ashok ji was saying, I was thinking about Bangalore. Almost every day we are seeing rain.
so
So
you're
I
saying
was just saying to myself that Baba is being partial, but Sanjay ji, you're absolutely right. So first thing, it's a reference to unscheduled, unexpected rain as a message from him, and he
yes,
has said
Yes.
that in many accounts himself, right?
I
There
know.
Yeah,
are
yeah, yeah.
events, weddings, and
Many
suddenly there's
stories.
rain.
Many stories.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So
Many stories like that. Yeah, yeah.
in today's reading also, I stopped at the point, and when you read the next paragraph or paragraphs, it was the unveiling of the. So it was a direction from the Almighty that this part would be read by you. So great.
Jai Baba.
You are always
Thank
Jai
you.
special,
Baba.
Ashokji.
Sorry.
He has you. You are always special. He has you in his sights.
Nahi, nahi.
Jai Baba.
Thank you. Thank you for this session. Thank you.
Jai Baba. Jai Baba. Thank you,
Jai Baba.
everybody.
Jai Baba. Thank you.
Jai Baba.